It's time for another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas, the podcast covering the intersection of business, culture, entrepreneurship, and life in general here in the Ozarks. Whether you are considering a move to this area or trying to learn more about the place you call home, we've got something special for you. Here's our host, Randy Wilburn.
Hey folks, and welcome back to another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. I'm your host, Randy Wilburn. I'm excited to be with you today, as I am always. I am here in the Furman Garner Performance Studio at KUAF. For those of you that don't know, we have partnered up with KUAF on a regular basis. So not only can you listen to the podcast on all of the major podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, you can also listen to us on KUAF and the NPR One app. And so we are certainly privileged to partner up with KUAF. And so Ozarks at Large, every Tuesday at 12 noon and at 7 p.m., you can hear a replay of our podcast, which releases on Mondays. So it's the best of both worlds because you not only get to subscribe to the podcast on your phone, but you can also listen to it in your car and the radio. There's so many ways to listen to it. And so we certainly appreciate this partnership and we're excited. And I'm excited even more today because I get to sit down with another partner of the podcast. And this is actually the first sponsored partner of the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast, and that would be Signature Bank. You guys have heard the great Gary Head on the podcast. You've heard his commercial. You've heard him talk about the growth of Signature Bank and Banco C and just the expansion of this wonderful community institution. And I'm excited today to sit down with Tori Bogner, who is the Senior VP of Marketing with Signature Bank, a good friend of mine and the person that actually signs my checks when it comes to sponsorship. So I really appreciate her. But she's just an outstanding individual and somebody that's around the community making a difference on a regular basis. And it's even better because I get to meet Jen Esty, who is running the Scout Guide here in Northwest Arkansas. If you haven't seen this book, you need to check it out. And it's fabulous. As I was joking with Jen before we started recording, it's the kind of book that you can put on a coffee table and feel comfortable about leaving it there. So without further ado, I want to welcome Tori Bogner and Jen Esty to the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast. How are you ladies doing?
Good. Thank you for having us.
So glad to be here.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to have you here. So to tee this conversation up, and I would certainly love the I Am Northwest Arkansas tribe of listeners, I really want you to take note of this particular episode because one of the things that you hear me talk about all the time is how important it is to invest locally in our community. Something that Signature Bank has done since day one, since Gary opened it. He took personal investment of people locally that helped him open the bank, and they have grown and they just continue to grow with tremendous assets and a tremendous impact in our community. And so I think it's important for us to reinvest in these local entities that are doing right by the communities. And so I'm excited to kind of talk today about this topic, which is simply a new program. It's not new, but they've had it for a while. It's called Shop Small, y'all. And you know, you've seen American Express and others try to double down during the holiday months when it comes to shopping local. Well, Signature has taken it to a whole nother level, and they've partnered up with the Scout Guide, and they're doing some amazing things. And that's why I wanted to bring these ladies on today to talk about this and to talk about ways that you can really support local businesses here in Northwest Arkansas and get some money, put some money back in your pocket at the same time. So without further ado, Tori, why don't you just kind of share a little bit about the whole Shop Small, y'all concept?
I'd love to. So 5 years ago when I started at the bank, 5 years ago.
Time flies when you're having fun.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was on my way to our last vacation before COVID. We were flying to Germany, and I remember being at the airport. I had a call scheduled with the Scout Guide, and we were trying to figure out what's a way we could take something like what American Express does with their support of Small Business Saturday and really expand it. It should be more than a day. We want to make sure that our local businesses are being supported as much as they can be. So Shop Small, y'all was born for me at the DFW airport before I boarded an 8-hour flight. And it's been a great ride ever since. The premise behind the campaign is we want to reward you for shopping local. So we partner up with businesses that are here in our Northwest Arkansas community And if you come in to that business with our special Shop Small Y'all gift card that you can buy at any Signature Bank location, then they'll reward you for shopping local with 10% off your purchase.
Yeah.
And what they're offering may vary from store to store. Some of them may offer 10% off of accessories. Some may offer 10% off of menu items, excluding alcohol. Everyone's got those little things that they can and can't do. But the basic idea is if you go in and you support them, they're going to support you back. Basically creating a tax-free weekend for
all
2 months
holiday
long.
shopping season. Exactly.
Yeah. Which is helpful, right? Because taxes are high and certainly every little bit helps. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, every little bit helps. So Jen, why don't you tell me a little bit about the Scout Guide itself for the uninitiated of my listeners that have been under a rock for a while. Please let them know about the Scout Guide and why they should be reading it.
Yes, no, I'd love to. So we are an annual publication that supports small local business. We support and promote. Basically, we are a megaphone for small businesses. So the guide comes out once a year. As you said, it's very well done as far as the quality of the book. I've got people who contact me, no kidding, all the time saying, hey, I don't have volume 2. Do you have one I can have for my collection? Absolutely.
Yeah.
The answer is yes, by the way. But we also, and then throughout the rest of the year, we support local businesses through event partnerships or collaborations, digital promotion. But really, our main mission is to keep people shopping and supporting local small businesses.
And you guys have done a podcast, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. We have the Scoutcast.
That's what I thought.
Yes,
I thought. I was like, I know I've heard about it.
Yeah.
And I think I've even listened to an episode or two. And I apologize because people ask me all the time, well, I know I listen to a lot of podcasts, but people ask me if I listen to my own podcast. And a lot of times I don't. And I'm like, I was actually here when it happened.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily need to go back and listen to it again. But no, I certainly applaud you for doing that because I think it's important for magazines like yours and you're doing to reinforce the message on multiple platforms. And podcasting is just another way to do that.
Well, and it's also a great way to tell the story of the people behind the businesses. And that's another reason that we started Shop Small Y'all is because, there are real humans behind these businesses, and these humans are paying taxes locally. They're sending their kids to our schools, and the money that you spend here stays here. So it's an important to shop small, y'all.
Yeah,
they're employing our neighbors,
exactly,
making our community unique and special and different, and not just cookie cutter.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's important too. And I mean, that gets back to kind of the mission of Signature Bank in terms of your focus. And people say, oh, you're a shill for whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I always like promoting things that I like, that I know that are doing well in the community. And every time I talk to somebody that comes to me and says, oh, I just got a HELOC with Signature, or I just got a business loan or something along those lines, it's like, oh, okay. Well, they've really put their money where their mouth is, no pun intended, and they're making differences in the community. And I think that's important. And you don't always see that. It's one of the reasons why I've told people all the time, and anyone that will listen, and you can go back and play the tape. Well, tape, but I mean, you can go, you know what I'm saying. I know I'm dating myself now. You can go back and play the recording and hear me say all the time that these big banks, and again, there's nothing wrong with the Chases of the world and the Bank of Americas and all that, but you'll never get that personalized experience and the hand holding. I literally, every time I walk into Signature, if 3 people don't accost me with an hello, how you doing? Can I get you a Coke? Would you like some water? How about some coffee? You don't get that when you walk into some of these other places. Right. And you're almost like nameless, faceless. You're just a number. But at Signature Bank, you're more than just a number. Actually, that's a good one, right? Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, I digress. The bottom line is that I've really, and as somebody that has been around the country and lived in a lot of different places, Signature Place, beyond the fact that you guys are a sponsor of this podcast, has held a really special place in my heart for what you're doing in the community, right? Because you need those relationships, those banker relationships. And I tell people all the time, even young people, if they'll listen, that, all of these virtual banks that are out there, that's all cool and convenient. But there are times when you need to physically come in and talk to somebody kneecap to kneecap. And if you are dealing with a virtual bank, you're never going to have that connection or that relationship like you would have with a local bank like a Signature Bank.
Yeah. So a lot of times you don't know you need a banker until you need a banker.
Absolutely.
That's actually
pays to have that relationship before your need arises.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'd be curious to know, and I'm going to ask both of you guys this, but what have you seen, Tori, specifically in our community here in Northwest Arkansas, has been, the biggest need of local businesses here, besides money, because we know they all need money. That's a given. But what have you come across, or what is the constant beat of the drum that you hear from local businesses in terms of what they need from a support perspective to keep opening the doors?
Right. Well, other than a lower interest rate, which unfortunately I can't personally do anything about.
Yes.
And as someone who's trying to build a house one day, I'm also waiting for those interest rates to go down. You see the funny signs outside of some businesses or some restaurants that are talking about Amazon isn't supporting your local softball team. They're not sponsoring your kids' t-ball team.
Yeah.
It's like Jen said, you can't forget that these are our neighbors and their kids are in school next to our school kids. And it's all about making sure that we're still supporting and shopping with them. The pandemic created a lot of problems for people to learn how to shift to creating online shopping availabilities and curbside delivery. But now that we're back to shopping in person, making sure that we're remembering to shop locally and visit the store. And maybe something costs $1 more here than it costs on your website from a big box, but that dollar is getting reinvested in salaries and taxes and neighbors and t-ball teams.
Yeah.
And it's more of that community aspect than just receiving a good.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I would echo everything that she just said. I think one thing, though, that I will say that is specific to our community that I have noticed is that people do care and do shop local. So just going back to the pandemic and that first holiday season, we had some local businesses that had some really great success because people buckled down and actually supported their neighbors, their teachers, So absolutely. Everybody wants more traffic. And yes, Prime Day, I know they blow that up all over the place. But if you think about it, every day is kind of Prime Day for these businesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. They just need for people to look to them first.
Yeah. It's funny. I literally just about a week ago had Leah and Daniel from Pearl's Books sitting in those seats that you guys are sitting in. And we were talking about the Amazon effect and how that impacted their business. And they, let alone are they going up against Amazon, but they also opened up in the middle of a pandemic and they have found success. And so that's my encouragement to anybody listening to this that may be thinking about starting a business, or you currently have a business, but maybe you haven't quite tapped into the vein of support that you need to keep those doors open. There are all kinds of options out there for small businesses, especially here in Northwest Arkansas. I think when I see people like Gary Head and others in our community, that are leaders of our business community, the whole goal is to support each other. I've said this before on this podcast that I recognize that, if somebody else has a podcast out there, we might be in competition for some of the same ears, but we're all trying to achieve the same goal, of making this a better place to be. And, I just would encourage people that are listening to this to know that folks are rooting for businesses here in Northwest Arkansas to be super successful. And I think a program like Shop Small, y'all, is just one way to do it. Now, it might only be for, a small period of the year, but still, it's a chance and an opportunity for you to really make a difference in the lives of a neighbor of yours who might be a local small business owner.
Yeah. And I just want to say, if there's something that you're looking for, we have it in Northwest Arkansas. It is here.
We really do. It is here.
And one thing that maybe is a positive that came out of the pandemic is when people were having to close and they were having to shift to selling things online and then shipping it, you can still have that convenience of shopping online at a local business and pick it up curbside or have them ship it to you. I've done that myself. I'll just, now Shop Small, y'all, you need to go in and get your 10% off, but that's fun. Go see your neighbors at your local boutique, go meet the owner. Take a break at a local restaurant and support that family-owned restaurant. Everybody wants to support local here. I do believe that. I think there's just a real good incentive to shop local this holiday season with a little bit of 10% off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So have you had any real, tremendous success stories around this program that you've heard, post the event, last year or the year before? Anything that stands out to you that you've heard anecdotally from other small business owners that had a chance to participate in this? Because I really want to encourage other businesses that are listening to this to get on the bandwagon.
So we have had a lot of businesses who have that success story for me is that we have a lot of the same businesses who come back year over year to participate.
Okay.
So
5 years in.
Yeah, 5 years in. And you're right. We want more businesses. So, what did we say? 33 and counting?
Yeah, we're at 33 today, and we have room for everyone.
Right. We have room for more. So yeah, I think the fact that we've got some of the same businesses coming back year over year is a testament to people shopping small and getting that 10% off.
Yep.
And I'll add, make sure that everyone knows you don't have to be a member of the Scout Guide. You don't have to be a customer of Signature Bank.
Yep.
Right. Jen and I, both of our organizations are here to support and amplify small businesses in this community. So it doesn't matter whether you're part of our organizations. We want to welcome you. We've got open arms.
Exactly.
We're here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. And so even at the current printing of this, so we're going to get this episode out pretty quickly. And as it comes out, as people are listening to it, if they say, hey, I know it's past the beginning of this program, is it too late to get involved, or can you still insert somebody into the system?
Absolutely. So I'll just jump on our pandemic benefits bandwagon. As a marketer, what was interesting to me coming out of the pandemic was the reemergence of the QR code.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's wonderful. So now, when you come in and you buy your gift card, we have a special gift card holder that explains the program. If you're giving it to someone, it's got to from and the amount you put on it. And it's got a QR code on there that takes you to our website and shows you the list of everyone who's participating. So for businesses that want to join possibly later on in the season, in the program, then you're just part of it. No one will ever know you were part of the website later. If they're just looking at it for the first time, I can add you in about 25 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people should take advantage of that are listening to this. And so we will certainly get this episode out. And I want to kind of give you guys a rundown. So the program runs from the 1st of November of this year, 2023, to December 31st.
That's right.
So you basically have almost 60 days of shopping available to you at where you can support local small businesses and take advantage of it. But you need that gift card, right?
That's right.
So just explain how that whole process works.
Absolutely. So for me, the gift card's twofold. You can come into the bank. We have 5 locations in Northwest Arkansas, 1 in all the towns, 2 in Rogers, because there's 1 in downtown Rogers. That's Bonko C. You can visit any of those locations, pick up the gift card, and then go shop. Or you can buy that gift card for someone and give them the gift of 10% off. I've got a daughter in daycare, and she's got 8 teachers that see her throughout the week. And so it's kind of hard to remember what each of those teachers likes and preferences are. So for me, I'll be giving them each a Shop Small Y'all gift card, and then they can go shop wherever they like. And then they're getting that 10% off on top of, whatever they were wanting to purchase.
I love that, which is huge. And like you said, if you give them a QR code, whenever they look at that actual list of all of the options they have, it'll be up to date, and they can say, oh, I can go to this place. And so I think that's huge. And so every area of Northwest Arkansas is covered. They have vendors in Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, and Bentonville, and you keep adding them on a regular basis. And actually, Pearl's Books is on here.
They are.
I didn't realize that.
They are. So. In fact, I was just going to mention we are finalizing a pop-up in their shop. So one of the things we are doing differently this year is that if you're a small business and you want to participate and you'd like to host a pop-up, we will be happy to come and support Shop Small Y'all in your business. You can pick up a preloaded gift card there and either use it yourself or gift it, like she said. But Pearl's Books, very soon, I think in maybe the first weekend of November, we'll be having a pop-up there. So we'll watch out for all the social channels on that for the details. But yeah, I think they're going to be our first pop-up.
Awesome.
Very nice. I love that. So, well, no, that's exciting. And Pearl's Books is all about the pop-up. They do a bunch of them with sugar apple bacon.
Apple,
yeah, very, very good.
Sugar apples on the list.
Sugar apples on there.
Yes. Well, those are my friends, and they've been on the podcast. And so, I mean, you actually have a lot of folks on here. Merton's Eye and Optical, Ella's Table. You can get 15% off of food, alcohol excluded. In Springdale, Zelly Pasta and Rogers, the Little Candle of NWA, Loma and Havana Tropical Grill, really good food. In Bentonville, they've got Cocoon Yoga Lab, Crystal Bridges Gift Shop. I mean, how many times have you been in Crystal Bridges Gift Shop and said, man, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. Here's your chance to do it and get 10% off.
Yep,
absolutely.
So, and I mean, there's just so many that are listed on here. It's certainly, if you have a business in Northwest Arkansas and you're listening to this and you're saying, how come they didn't include me? It's not too late.
Nope.
Get involved, check it out, because these guys have a great program here. So tell me, did you get any final numbers from last year's participation at all with regard to the amount of savings that people received from it. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but
that's a really great idea for 2023, Randy.
And we'll do that. Yeah. Because, we should probably make this an annual thing where we have this conversation. Because, this is one of those things where people you have to remind people. It's not like not a one and done thing. Every year you have to remind people to shop locally. And this is one way to do it. With the idea that if people shop locally between that period of November 1st and the end of December, and then they kind of get into that habit of doing it, that come April, they're shopping local. Come July, they're shopping local. It kind of creates its own momentum, yes. Right? And then that's when you really start to see some things happen. So that's exciting.
And I know our area is a little bit transient. We've got new people moving in all the time.
All the time.
So hopefully for folks that are just arriving to Northwest Arkansas, Shop Small Y'all can be a destination for them to get to know their area and be able to send some gifts back home to family and friends that they found here and that are special, unique to Northwest Arkansas.
And they can find those in the Scout Guide as their resource.
They absolutely can.
Right. And certainly, again, I really want to encourage folks. It would be great if we could get 100 businesses to participate in this program.
That would be amazing.
So we got 67 more to add. But my goal between now and the time that this podcast episode comes out is that we really kind of push the needle on this. So anybody listening to this that has a small business in Northwest Arkansas and you figure out you can participate, you need to participate. Let's get these numbers up and increase the number of local companies that are part of this program for Shop Small Y'all, because again, it's a great way to create awareness. It's a great way to build word of mouth with regard to whatever your brand is, whatever you're selling, whether it's a product or a service. There's all kinds of options for you. And there should probably be more restaurants on this. And I get it that, this is a challenging time of year because there's so much happening. But, there's a couple of restaurant owners that I know I'm going to call up and say, hey, you guys should consider being a part of this. So,
absolutely. You got to shop. If you're going to shop, you're going to lose some energy. So you got to go recharge.
You have to.
But you can also make an evening of it. I mean, how great would it be to plan your dinner, your walk around the square with the lights and your Christmas shopping? I mean, that's just a great evening. Grace.
Exactly. Any square. You could do it in Fayetteville. You could do it up in Bentonville. So
we've even got a vendor or a store in downtown Rogers that's physical therapist. She also offers massages, and her location's in an old bank. So you're going into the old vault to get a massage, which I thought was so cool.
That is cool. That is cool.
So there's also some, treat yourself opportunities here.
Yeah.
And the Scout Guide is actually going to have a giveaway as well. So starting on November 1st, and this will all be on our Instagram, which is at TSGNW Arkansas. But we'll be having a giveaway the 1st through the 15th of November, and the details will be announced very soon. But the giveaway will be a nice basket of goodies from all these local businesses.
She's being really humble with the word nice. This basket is amazing.
I know it's off the charts. Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen the Scout Guide, you need to see it, first of all. It's a keepsake, in terms of it just looks good. And I don't like collecting a lot of stuff, but that is something that I've held on to. It's one of those things where you're like, I just can't throw it out. There's something about it. So no, I certainly would encourage everybody listening to this to go check out the Scout Guide if you haven't before. Where can they find copies of the Scout Guide?
Oh, gosh, all over. So if you go to thescoutguide.com, that is our main website. And then you can click on cities. You can see all the cities we're in. So next time you plan a trip, that's the website you need to go to.
Right.
But when you go to our Northwest Arkansas page, you can actually browse the guide, and all of the businesses in the guide distribute as well. We're all over, though. We're in 21C. We're in The Graduate.
Right.
We're all over. So just look for the purple book. We're everywhere.
Brought a stack with her today here at KUAF.
Yes.
I usually have one under my arm.
So will you leave those here with us?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, we'll make sure we put those out, and we certainly want to make sure that people have access to them and they can take advantage. Any last minute housekeeping information you want to share with our listeners before we close out?
To view the list of participating businesses, visit signature.bank/shopsmallyall. And if you're a business and you're interested in learning more how it works, what are the dates, some FAQs, we've got a website just for you. It's shopsmallyallnwa.com.
Okay, shopsmallyallnwa.com. That's what I'm going to tell folks to go to, because I'd love to see more businesses participate. I'd love to see us get to 100.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I think that would be great because then it just
wonderful.
gives people options.
Mm-hmm.
It gives people a lot of options. So, and it's not too late to do it. So I'm gonna certainly hype that up a little bit. So if you guys hear me talking about it quite a bit, just know that this is the reason why. So, well, listen, I appreciate you guys coming out today to share with us a little bit about this Shop Small Y'all program. I really, I appreciate everything that Signature Bank has been doing in our community, not just for me, but I mean, again, I am saying this that I think other people should hear it, that they gave me a shot. They've supported what we're all about here at I Am Northwest Arkansas, the community building efforts. They put their money where their mouth is, no pun intended. They really do. And so whenever I see that, I always want to support that. And so I really want to encourage those listening. That's why I've told you, hey, check out Signature Bank. They're more than just a bank. This is a community institution in our area that is really making a difference. And of course, she's mentioned it and she's being shy about it, but Banco C is the first bilingual bank in the state of Arkansas. I don't know that there are that many bilingual banks. I mean, you may have to go to one of the coasts to see one, but we have one right here in Arkansas. So
every time I do an interview, I kind of challenging the reporter to do a little investigative journalism. Like, as far as I know, it's the first one, but I always include that as far as I know.
As far as you know.
I do know of one in California that's a Chinese bilingual bank.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Really
cool. San Francisco's had a couple because I used to live out there. So, you're absolutely right. But I think, with the demographic changing and the growth of the Latinx and Latinx community here in Northwest Arkansas, I mean, it just makes perfect sense. And so, again, like I said, I applaud you and Gary and their whole team at Signature for being forward thinking in this area and providing a need where a need exists. Because I'm going to tell you, I've heard from a lot of my friends that have said, oh, I went in and I couldn't read these documents. None of this made sense to me. It wasn't in their native language. And I mean, I just think the fact that you're addressing those needs and meeting people where they are is huge. So
we're always working on more documents. We've got some limitations with what we can and can't do, but at least what we can do is offer you a full team. Hopefully you don't need to talk to the manager, but should you need to talk to the manager, that manager is speaking Spanish too.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, they can answer everything. So no, I think that's really important. So, but listen, Tori, Bogner, Jen, Esty, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast. We really appreciate it. And we're calling it right now that the Shop Small Y'all 2023 is going to be off the hook.
Yes.
That we're going to have so many people that partner up with us as companies, as stores, as well as those that actually get the gift card. Get the gift card. I think that's a great idea. Get the gift card, give it to your kid's teacher, give it to, I always like to give a gift to our mail person. We have a mail lady. I always like to give her a gift.
Great
I'm going to
idea.
make sure I'm going to do that this year because I'm going to just let her know that it goes. And you can just use that as a normal debit card, as a normal card.
Yeah.
So.
It's a MasterCard gift card. So the discount ends on New Year's Eve, December 31st. But the card itself doesn't expire. So you can use it anytime afterward if you still have money on it.
I think that's huge. So perfect. All right. Well, good. Well, thank you guys so much for doing this. And listen, guys, if you go into the bank and you heard about it here on the podcast, please let the teller know. Tell them that you heard about it here first. And if you run into Jen or Tori anywhere, let them know, hey, I heard you guys on the podcast. You sound amazing. And let's just continue to support what both of these organizations are doing here in our community because they really are making a difference. And, it's a team effort at all times. And so I really want to encourage everybody to take part in this and, go from there. It's pretty straightforward. So thank you guys both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. We appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that's another episode of the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast. To learn more about us or to read or download the show notes from today's episode, visit IamNorthwestArkansas.com. Everything that was mentioned here today about Shop Small Y'all will be on those show notes. We'll even put the QR code on there so you have easy access to get this information. Remember, you can listen to this podcast and sign up for our free newsletter to keep up with us and all things NWA. Make sure you sign up today. You can subscribe to the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast wherever you listen to it. And please, please, please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Remember, our podcast comes out every Monday, rain or shine. I'm your host, Randy Wilburn, and we'll see you back here next week for a new episode of the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast. Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. Check us out each and every week, available anywhere that great podcasts can be found. For show notes or more information on becoming a guest, visit iamnorthwestarkansas.com. We'll see you next week on I Am Northwest Arkansas.